Welcome to Excel 2016, Module 2, Part 1. In this module, we're going to be looking at formatting the workbook text and data, and finally looking at getting it ready for printing. In this particular video, we're going to be looking at formatting the cell content. So we're going to begin by working with a file called morning. So you're going to want to go ahead and go into open and then browse. And you're going to go to the files that you downloaded from the Q drive in class. And under Excel 2, there's a module. You're going to want to choose the worksheet called Morning and open that. You can see that we are on the documentation worksheet, and there is a second worksheet called the sales report. We're going to begin by formatting some of the information in the documentation worksheet. Now, since I did download these files from the internet, I am going to enable editing. This is a security feature that has been built in to most of the Office tools to allow us to choose if we want to enable editing in hopes of preventing getting some viruses from downloaded files. Okay, so we're going to begin by doing a change of the fonts. So on the documentation sheet, we have Morning Bean stored in cell A1. That needs to be your active cell. And then we're going to come in and look at this drop-down arrow next to fonts. One thing to be aware of is in the Office tools, in the Office programs, there is a concept called themes. Themes are a collection of fonts, colors, styles, etc. that have been grouped together that are supposed to work well together. So in many of these formatting options, you're going to see some options that are referred to as theme items, and then followed by other or all items. In this particular theme, and we're going to visit themes later on in this chapter, the two fonts that are automatically used with this particular theme are Calibri and Calibri Light. Excel views the theme fonts as a body font and a headings font. If I change themes, I will still see a body font and a headings font, but they may not be Calibri and Calibri Light. They may be something else. If you choose a theme font, and then later on you change your theme, then the font of this text will change to whatever the theme font is for your new theme. If you come down here and you choose a new font, such as Bauhaus 93, that will not change if I change themes later on, because it was not the theme font. So if you don't want something to change, if you change themes, then you want to make sure you do not choose a theme font. Now let's take a look at something else that's available to us in these versions of Office Tools. It's called Live Preview. So notice as I go over the various fonts, it's showing me what it will look like in that new font. This is called Live Preview, and it allows me to view the options and what they will look like without actually making the change. Okay, so now we're going to go to Calibri Light. And then that is the theme font. And then we're going to change the size up to 26. Now I can make other changes in formatting as well. So I could come in here and bold. You're going to see me using the buttons on the ribbon. I don't tend to use the keystroke equivalents very often. Keystroke equivalents are combination keys that allow us to perform the function without clicking on the buttons. Again, remember, you could at home switch to touch mode if that works better for you. The keystroke here, notice when I hover over it, it shows me the keystrokes and says if I push Control and B, that will bold it. So if you want to use keystroke equivalents, they are also listed in the textbook. Okay, the next cell that we're going to look at is A2, where we have the hot drink cafe, and we're going to make that a size of 18, and we want that to be italics. So a lot of these formatting options are located on our Home tab, and so far we've been working within the font group. So we're mainly working on this section right here at this moment. All right, now we're going to look at a range of cells. We're going to have A4 through 6, and we want that to be bold. And now I'm going to go ahead and type in my name as the author. And today's date I'm going to put in there as August 2nd, 2016. The next thing we want to look at is how we can apply some colors to the text, possibly, and also the cell area around the text. So let's take a look at cells A1 and A2. Now there are two different color buttons. This is called the fill color. It's a bucket of paint because it's going to fill in the cell. It's like you took the paint and dumped it into the cell and filled in the block. This is your font color. Notice it has the letters, and it's going to allow you to change the color of the letters. So that's what we're going to do to start with. And I'm going to click the down arrow so that I can see my color options. So again, remember when we talked about fonts, we said there were some theme fonts that would change if I changed themes, and then there were some standard or other fonts that do not change. Same way with the colors. Every theme is going to have a range of theme colors. These themes offer different shades and different darkness within the same category of color. Okay, so these choose up here, if you choose these in this theme section, they will change if you change themes. If you choose a standard color, they will not change. And then you also have more colors where you can actually get into the color wheel and choose specific colors. We're going to choose the standard color, green, and it should be the 6th one over in the standard colors. You want to hover over these and make sure you pick the correct one based on the instructions in your homework. Because notice you have light green, and then you have standard green, and you also have a green with accent and shading up here in the theme colors. So you need to make sure you know whether it's saying a theme, and it usually will for those with an accent and a lighter or darker percentage, or a standard color. And in this case, it tells us to use standard color green. So we're going to choose that. Now, if we don't want all of the text to be the same color, we can change the font on only a portion of the text. So if I highlight just the word morning, you'll notice that there are some things that I can do in this smaller sub-window, and the font color is one of those. So I can choose the font color here, and I am going to choose Gold Accent 4. And when you hit enter, you will see that the word morning is one color and bean is another. Fill colors cannot be done on a partial cell. Those have to be done on a complete cell. But with text and the text color, you can do 2 different colors. If you did not get the mini text bar here, if you had lost that for some reason, you still could select it up here on the main toolbar. Now, fill colors can be referred to as background colors. They fill in the cells. So let's take a look to start with at A4 through 6. And we're going to choose the fill color button. That's the one with the bucket. And what we're going to choose is standard color green. Now perhaps we might want to change the font color as well. So we're going to choose the drop down for the font color. And in the theme colors, we have the top left is white background 1. And that's the one we're going to choose. In B4 through 6, we're going to change the font color to standard green and the fill color to background of white. The next thing we're going to do is expand the column width of column B to a size of 30. And remember, there were multiple ways that you could do that. The last thing we're going to do here is we are going to wrap the text. Remember, we did that with our last one. So we select B6 and come up here and wrap. So whatever will not fit, it wraps it around. Then we're going to select A4 through B6, and we are going to choose the option to have all borders. So you're going to choose the border drop down and choose all. Couple things I want to show you. If I add a new sheet, I'm going to put it at the end, and this is just color items. Okay, so if I have text, and I'm just going to write this multiple times. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it to several different lines. You can see that each one of those rows has text in it. But what happens sometimes with students on their homework is they come in here and they say, it tells me to change the font color to white. And then I'm going to, oh shoot, it was supposed to be the fill color. So I changed that to white. And then they think they've deleted the data. But if you look up here, you still see that data. It's still there. But what's happened is you have set the font and the fill to the same color. And if you do that, you can no longer see the text, even though it is still there. So always check that. If you think you accidentally deleted the data, come in and change one of the font or fill to something different and see if, in fact, it's still there. Another thing to keep in mind is if you want an entire worksheet to have a fill color, you cannot try to select it this way. You're never going to get it. There are thousands of cells. Come up into the back or to the upper corner between the A and the 1 and click that box. That highlights the entire worksheet And then you can set the entire worksheet, to the fill color you want. And you can see now when we did that the white does not look good with that. So you'd want to make any changes you needed. If you need to set a background color for the fill color for the entire worksheet, you click on this corner button between the A and the 1, and it selects the entire worksheet. Then you can come in and change the color appropriately. The next thing we want to do is add something called a background image. So we're going to go to our page layout and we're going to choose this background option. It's looking for pictures and we're going to browse from a file, and it is in the same place where your Excel worksheet was. Okay, so you're going to go to what you downloaded from the Q drive, Excel2, Module, and you should see a file called background JPG. This file, to me, kind of looks like a shading of a manila folder or something. You may not see it a lot depending on the monitor settings you have and things, the brightness and so forth. But you can see it kind of added a background color. And where you really can see that is here. Okay, it took that picture and it put it everywhere that you did not have a fill color. Okay, so that's a background image. If you did not want it there anymore, you can choose delete background and it will remove it. So again, you can choose background images. I don't use this one very often, but where I have seen it used is if somebody wants to have their company logo or their company colors or something spread across their worksheet. So I'm going to go ahead and save this work, and then we're going to stop this video. And if you're interested in working with formulas, functions, and formatting those numbers, join us for video 2.